Okay, so welcome everyone. We're going to have our presentations from our young Theosophists. And first up tonight is going to be Blake Smith, who is a Reiki practitioner. And he has just come back from a 10-day retreat, I think, in Vipassana, which is a Buddhist meditation technique. He's in Freemasonry. He also worked in astronomy and science, communicated at the Carter Observatory in the museums in Wellington. He's been a member in the lodge for over about a year now. So Blake is going to be sharing on what his perceptions are in the TS and his spiritual insights prior to that and during. So Blake, over to you, my friend. So you want to grab a seat here?
I don't mind.
Okay, well, I don't want to sit there. So
okay, all right.
You guys are it.
You take the front. The captain's chair. Okay. It's lovely to see all your shining faces again. It's been a while, and I'm very happy to be here. Ellie and I actually had an idea that we would start by joining everyone in a slight show and share and tell, a spiritual share and tell. So we're going to share some of the insights that we've had, some of the experiences we've had, but we're also very keen to connect and hear with everyone that's here as well. So we're just going to go around the circle. I think everyone knows each other at this point, but if you would like, you can share your name. And we had the question, what are you cultivating at the moment? What are you working on in your life? Just if you would like to try to find some words to answer that question. What are you cultivating? What are you working on in your life at the moment? We'll go around and hear from everyone, and we'll be able to connect in that way. So Bill is first around the circle. Yeah, can do that. Did you want to start us off?
Yes, well, thank you. My name is Bill Keaton. I've been a long time Theosophist. First came into contact when I was 15. What I'm currently working on, well, two main things really. One is my interest in rife technology, that is treating illnesses with frequencies through modern equipment based upon Rife's original discoveries in the 1930s, but which has been updated. And the second thing is I'm still working on my screenplay about my teacher, Jeffrey Hodson. And those two things are the main foci of my life at the moment.
Wonderful. Cool. Thank you, Bill. And we'll move over to our president, Simon.
Yeah, thanks, Blake. So obviously making sure things tick along at the lodge, which is great, working with everyone in the team, so that's really good. And the second thing, which has been really a major focus, is putting together the self-transformation course that we started introduction last week. Because actually doing it, changes you. The more you study, the more you teach. So looking at all this material from these three texts and putting it together in a way that it's going to be meaningful actually affects you, So that's kind of, and I've had the quiet time because Sushma's in India. So I've had the quiet time to myself at home in the evenings just to sit quietly and deal with it, which is kind of nice. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm at.
Wonderful. Looking forward to those. Thanks, Simon. And we've got Brett here.
Just trying to, assist with the, with the TS as much as I can as a custodian of this lodge, and advancing the cause of the Wellington branch and its sort of structure and stuff. And but yeah, I'm sort of getting up to the time when I have to kind of make my move on what I want to do. Is I've got this brilliant idea for making electricity without fuel. And, I was so scared when I came up with the idea because that sort of idea is quite dangerous and as a personal safety issue, and so that was one of the reasons that prompted me to join. I'd sort of heard about the TS and HPB and stuff, and I thought, well, that's good. I can kind of get a bit of back from both sides, you know, try it down here and try and see if it's okay on the other side to see, you know, that this is the time that we can have, you know, fuel-free electricity and yeah, so the TS supports my other thing, and the other thing is what I need to be doing, but yeah, they sort of go hand in hand.
Cool. Thanks, Brett.
Thanks, Brett.
Okay, take it away.
Yeah, hi, I'm Dean. I'm here looking, basically, I'm treating water in my life at the moment, in that my daughter has left home full-time university away from home for the next 5 years. And things haven't quite gone the way in the other ventures that I've set up. And I'm treating water and trying to find more direction to put my energies with me behind it that I'm enthused about, and to I'm just looking around where I can fit in this changing world, and so hopefully I'll find somewhere. And but meanwhile, I've got lots of things to catch up on physically, and let alone mentally. You know, mentally, I'm not going crazy mentally, but it's putting that energy that I know I have into something that matters to me. And that's what I'm looking for, just catching up on the physical stuff to keep me occupied. So that'll keep me going. Thank you.
Thanks, Dean.
Well,
I was worried that would happen. Hello, everyone.
Maybe it was still
Just for there, it's probably good.
I don't know. No, I'm sorry. I'm still on camera, and it's just
Yeah, we can still see you just fine. Philip, if you've got a loud enough voice, I'm sure everyone will hear.
I'll do my utmost to project. Kia, my name is Philip. I'm going to be a greenhouse for emerging friendships and cultivate friendships this year. And those friendships I have, focus on them and strengthen them and nourish them and water them every day, or as necessary, in order to build my own strength and sense of camaraderie. Creativity, there's a certain spark that generates ideas or motion. It kind of comes and goes, and I'm looking forward to that spark appearing when it does. And with the film festival coming up, I love interpreting life through art, which I believe is a higher power for us all to enjoy. I'm looking forward to that spark, maybe catching light. Thank you.
All right. I'm Barrick here. So, I mean, probably about week 8 or something. So relatively new into Theosophical Society here. But one of the best things I've done is walk past here and thought, hey, what are these people? So just get involved a little bit. So what am I working on at the moment? So I'm about 8 months into New Zealand, coming to Britain. People hear the voice, British accent. So I practiced guitars, playing my guitars last year. They were packed on the ship and I lost them for months because I had to wait for it to sail over to here. And as I've unpacked them, I'm becoming more interested in the fusion between music, mathematics, consciousness. Really, there's been several philosophers that have talked about that, theoreticians that have talked about that. So I'm approaching guitars in a new way, and music in a new way. I'm not quite sure where it will lead yet. Does it start?
So could it lead to a large band? Because we have a pianist right there. We have a guitarist here.
Depends on relative skill, I suspect. More skill over there than possibly here, but who knows? Let's see.
Thank you.
Thank you.
There you are.
Right, well, last week I did a jewellery making course. On Saturday, the Mormons are coming around to mow the lawn. And really, that's about the extent of my immediate activity in my life. and anything else I don't really wish to divulge in public. So yeah, I'm grateful for the chance and the invitation. But I'll report back next week when nice woman elders have come in my rooms.
Lovely to see you, Louise.
I know it's not making anything.
Oh, it's fun. It's good. This all part of it. Sylvia.
Oh, thanks to my name is Sylvia. I'm a librarian here, so everybody knows who I am. And I think the most important things are that I have also been and also is both physically and emotionally. And some time ago, we heard here, I'm not quite sure, I think it was last week or the week before, we heard the young Shartan with whom I could safely say I'm in love. And been following, reading all of his books. Things that I don't understand are the challenge. And probably the focus of my life other than work is I'm learning Sanskrit. And the more you sort of get into it, the more interesting it is. And I'm sort of up to the point where if any of you know about Sanskrit, learning how they join words together and drop sort of bits here and drop there and put different things in there. So really fascinating. But my progress, I'm actually studying the Reboot Gita. And it's not a very commonly known Gita. It's and I find it really fascinating because it actually says that you can become enlightened on earth as a person. You can still be alive and become enlightened. And I thought you had to die somehow to become enlightened, but and I thought, oh, well, that sounds all right. So, but I've got a feeling I'm a long way away from it. Anyway, I'm studying it, and I have developed more respect for gurus. I used to hear about gurus who professed to be enlightened, and I thought, I'll use the word professed, you see, and that was my view, that there were a lot of people around who sort of touted that they were enlightened, but they weren't dead, so how could they be enlightened, you know? But studying Reboot Gita, I'm realising that you can be alive and be enlightened. So when I feel like I've got confidence, I might go and visit one or two of these gurus and just see what they've got to say. So yeah, who knows?
Lovely, Esme. Thank you. We'll be hearing much more from these two in a little bit, but if they wanted to say anything now.
Are you going to?
Yes, I am.
Yeah. Okay. Hi everyone. Hello, everyone. It's me, Jordan. Would have been here for a while, I guess. Signed up in 2019. Bit absent during COVID. Is it what we're working on in general? Spiritual.
Yeah, in general.
I guess for a long time, I've been in a real like transitional phase in life, and sort of trying to figure out what I'm doing with it. I think a lot of that is sort of a very protracted post-graduation state of mind. But also that sort of intersected like a whole a bigger spiritual question of, okay, it's like, okay, what am I materially doing, literally? But then also, what should I be doing from a spiritual perspective? Like, how can I choose, find a life path that somehow feels like it is activating some sort of spiritual meaning or following one. And so for a long time, I've just been sort of like trying many things, either in practice or just as ideas, and sort of paying attention to what my conscience or intuition sort of says about what a certain life path is resulting in, and whether I feel more spiritually close to spirit or not. Yeah, so I guess I'm just always trying to burn away everything that is not spiritually vital and trying to get to that essence of a life that is just actually deeply meaningful in a bigger picture sense. That is a huge project. More literally, also, yeah, I'm looking for a job. Playing a lot of stuff. Been around a lot. Good project.
Thanks, Jordan.
Hello, everyone. I'm Ellie. What I am currently cultivating is my clinical hypnotherapy studies that I'm just about halfway through at the moment, and I'm adoring. And then also reading many different theosophical authors at the moment. Probably the most one that I've read this year would be Ravi Ravindra and an abundance of his wonderful books, but then also reading Krishnamurti at the moment, which I'm also loving. And one practical thing I'm also doing or trying to do is finally learn to drive. About time, yes.
Okay, my name is Blake, and I've just come back from literally a day ago, a 10-day silent Vipassana meditation course. And so I haven't been talking much, so it's good to finally be speaking again to a large number of people. I'm interested as well in who's online. We never really get to hear from anyone that's online. So did we want to go to someone here how should we do this? Jane, are you there?
It's Maureen.
Oh, wonderful.
Maureen.
Unmute. Yes, I'm here. I'm here. Yeah.
We're going around and hearing from everyone. You can introduce yourself and just very briefly just say what kind of things you're cultivating or working on in life in general at the moment.
My life in general at the moment is pretty well managing to get enough wood into my house for the day. That's about my life. I don't focus on anything other than just plain living these days. And I don't speak very much about anything because I'm just hoping to get out of life in at least the state I was in when I came, hoping that I haven't polluted too much of myself in the meanwhile. But I know I have, of course. So, I just enjoy whatever I have to be doing at any given moment. But it's generally not very worthwhile. But I do enjoy listening to you young people who've got your life ahead of you. Look after your health.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Who have we got next?
Mira, Ama.
Mira, are you there? Hello.
Hello.
Would you like to say a few words?
Good evening, everybody. My name is Mira. I am from India, and I had an opportunity to study as a student to study economic psychology and Sanskrit history, so many things during my graduation and post-graduation. So I'm in Theosophy also. I come from a Theosophy family. I belong to the third generation. So nice meeting you all.
Lovely.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And Mr. Ganesh.
Good evening to all of you. Am I clear? I am audible?
Yep.
Yes, you are.
Yes, yes.
Thank you. My name is Ganesh Kumar, member of the Auckland Lodge. Had been a member since 1980. Yeah, I should say a student of Theosophy. And right now, I am trying to develop the awareness that I am using this body. That is trying to use it throughout the day. I'm able to think about it once or twice in a day, but I am trying to develop the awareness throughout the day that I am using this body. Thank you. And I'm quite happy to see all of you. All the best.
Thank you. You too. We've got June next on our screen. June, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Hello.
And I'm also a generational theosophist. I was told probably first theosophical meeting I went to was probably in a basket at the back of the room. Needless to say, I don't remember any of that. Been a member probably not continuously since 1958 when I was 11 years old, and always tried to live my life and bring up my children in according to theosophical principles. At the moment, I'm mostly concentrating on healthy aging, because, and I was asked by my oldest son, who has a birthday tomorrow, to write down the future city story that I used to tell him when we were hitchhiking when he was about 8, 9, 10 years old. Now, I've never been able to write down this story, and I'm not having much more luck now. And my study at the moment is Lillian Edgar's Elements of Theosophy. It doesn't usually come in that size. It's usually about A5 sized and small blue book. So yeah, that's me.
Thank you, June.
Beautiful.
The next person we've got here is Suzanne. Hello. So Suzanne's just working out how to unmute her iPhone. So there should be, if you tap on it, something that will come up under the settings. You're still muted.
Oh,
there you go. Hello.
Hello, everyone. It's
Hello.
so lovely. Hello. Hi. So, as a grandmother and a gardener, I'm looking and working on my relationships, just because I believe that that's what makes the world go round. And also, I'm trying to keep Hamilton Lodge alive, because at the moment we've sort of into some conflict. But you know, it's okay, because the vibration and the brotherhood that I feel that comes through me constantly in my relationships, and ultimately what we are the battles we stand in. And you know, I read the Gita, and I have friends in Wellington and around the world. So yeah, there is no beginning or end to anything. So it's the constant flow that I'm in that keeps my life and my battles alive. And it's the Holy Spirit that drives me. So thank you for asking. It's a privilege.
Thank you very much. Lovely to hear from you. It's so cool to hear from everyone who's online too. Sue, can you hear us? Sue O'Brien's iPhone.
Sue, you there?
We can come back to Sue if you're trying to figure out how to unmute. we've got Karen. Karen, sorry. Oh, hello. There you are.
Hey, hello everyone.
Hello.
I'm Karen, and I suppose I've been part of TS for as long as I can remember, literally. And at the moment, I'm just taking this time to work on myself because I have the luxury of time. So I'm working on myself and my outlook and what I attract to myself, and dancing and creating joy and honing my skills.
Lovely.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Very creative, vibrant person. Cool.
Yeah. If I can say, we've got
you.
3 generations on the screen, because little picture of Karen there, that's my mother with her.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, I always have Nana in the room with us.
Oh, lovely.
Yeah.
We've got Sue on unmuted now. Hello, Sue.
Hello. I'm Sue. I'm from Dunedin. It's nice and cool down here at the moment, and I've got the fire roaring away. What am I doing at the moment? I'm doing some meditation. Learning meditation is taught by Master Samuel. And again, at the Dunedin TS, we're learning about the meditations of Marcus Aurelius.
Very
So
cool. That's worth talking
very
about.
interesting. Yeah. And other than that, I'm just living and.
Cool. Thanks for sharing, Sue. Awesome.
Okay.
Someone from Dunedin speaking. And we've got Mr. Edward next.
Yes, good evening from Christchurch, and I am Edward Stotts. And what I'm working with and exploring is the writings, the ideas of Ravi Ravindra. Simon is putting together our course, and I'm fascinated with his writings, having heard him speak, but also I find that the real essence of someone is within their writings. So I'm looking forward to reading much more about what he has to say.
Wonderful.
Thanks, Edward. Christine.
Hello. Can
Hi.
you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes, we can.
Yeah. I'm always worried you can't hear me because I have problems with at this end. Yeah, hello to everybody. Delighted to be here again, especially with you young, vital people about to share your knowledge and understanding with us. I'm, like June and Maureen, I'm at a point of life where we've all had quite a few years trying to live up to the teachings. So for me now, it's very about continuing to stay engaged with the theosophical knowledge. And in particular, I'm very conscious now of time's running out, so to speak. If I could have done life any better, well, I better get cracking now and really think about that, and I do. And one of the things that I've always considered important, and I will just say to you, this never ceases to be something that is no longer, we don't get to a stage where we can rest on our laurels, I'll put it that way. So you young ones just starting out on this big exciting journey, what I would say to you is something I still need to practice is to always be willing to practice personal introspection, because that ego, the battle with the ego, never ever ceases. And it's really important that we don't ever get to a point. It's okay to pat yourself on the back from time to time when you do become aware of how well you've handled something, but be aware of that trap of the ego, that you have to be willing to always be looking within to examine your motivation as you go through life, and that journey, that part of the journey never ever ceases. So I wish to be encouraging, but at the same time, there's no good pretending it's going to get easier. And I was quite interested when you said, Ellie, that you're learning to drive, because straight away it came into my mind that could be very symbolic of moving forward more quickly. And this is something you young ones are here now in this wonderful energy that is accelerating everything. So you can expect to have perhaps a more exciting but also a rockier journey than some of us might have had in the years that have passed. So just best wishes to you all. And just want to give a little plug there for Maureen, our darling little Maureen. She forgot to tell you that she's a very, very busy lady, constantly giving loving service to the community where she lives in the far north. So that's all I have to say.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Christine.
Thanks, Christine. That really resonates what you were saying there. The first thing that one typically learns when they do an extended period of meditation is that we have such a wild mind, kind of like a wild animal in some ways, something like that, like a wild bull or a wild elephant, always agitated, running to future plans, future anxieties about the future, quickly switching back to things in the past, anxieties over things that have happened in the past, this constant kind of switching. If you examine the mind, it's often changing in such a way that it doesn't really complete many thoughts before it switches into a new thought and switches into a new thought. And the mind is constantly engaged in another thing that is hankering after some things and lamenting about other things in the past. So these are some of the things that the mind is always engaged in. It's often regarded as like a monkey jumping from branch to branch, branch to branch. So the wise amongst us and throughout history have been very much interested in the mind and how we can learn to bring some mastery into our awareness and cultivation of the mind. One thing that we may do sometimes is have a little bit of me time, right? So this kind of meditation is good. Or you may have me time in other ways. You might like to leisure with friends, or the various ways. We're all individual personalities. But to have some me time, it's useful to know what is this me and what is this I. What is this me? What is this I when it comes to this me time? And so this is the core question which those interested in developing an enlightenment or stepping on the path towards enlightenment ultimately end up talking about, contemplating, seeing from various perspectives. What is this me? What is this I? And one of the things that we hear, often Simon says at the beginning of our meetings, is that we're more than flesh and blood. And if you think about it, that's got to be true, right? Because if I just suddenly collapsed right in front of you right now in a big dramatic demonstration and died, you would say, Blake, he's gone. He's gone. And someone might tell you, oh, what are you talking about? He's not gone. He's right here. Here's his body right here in front of us. But of course, we understand that what is this he that's gone? There's a little bit more to a person than just the body. Certainly the body is an aspect of ourself. And even when we look in this body, constantly changing, where has our body gone from when we were that 7-year-old boy, that 7-year-old girl? Every single cell constantly renewing, changing, renewing, changing. And this is encapsulated in a philosophical idea called the ship of Theseus. Ship of Theseus is a proposed philosophical idea in which you have a ship and you're constantly over time changing one plank, until you've fully had a new ship there. So the question is this ship changed, or is this the same ship? It looks the same, yet it's, when you analyze it, it's completely different over time. Similarly, you've heard things like you never step in the same river twice. Rivers flowing, flowing, flowing. The apparent matter is that we are stepping in the same river. Now, we can understand this intellectually, but it is an entirely different thing to understand things at a deeper and deeper and deeper level. You may hear these great speeches or read these great writings about such topics, and the Buddha is one that I've been particularly interested in the moment from the course that I've done. And he's always talking about this, everything changing, anicca, anicca, anicca. Similarly with the candles, you may like to light a candle. A couple of hours later, it looks like it's the same candle that's burning, but you see with some little bit more attention, the candle's changing, each little atom's coming up and back and up and back and up and back. With the lights, it's the same thing. That's even harder to see, you know, the electricity running through it. And that has to be the case, right? Because you can't just say this is a light and this is an object and I own it. Otherwise, the power bill wouldn't be coming through each month, right? So because obviously they're paying for that electricity coming through it. And the entire constitution of this material world is doing this exact thing. So that's a really good thing to know and to start to understand more deeply. There's a funny story I've heard, I can share it as well. Say a husband and a wife, and the wife is cooking for the husband. Great love, great devotion, cooking the food. The husband, they're a young couple. He sees her hair as she's cooking. So beautiful, so wonderful. I love your hair. What have you done with it today? And later on, when the meal is served, what is this in my dinner? A hair. Oh, gross. Get the hair out of my food. Beautiful hair. Gross hair. What is this exactly that's going on here? Beautiful nails. Oh my goodness, your nails, so beautiful, so precious. I love what you've done with your nails today. Similarly, what is in my food? A bit of nail. Disgusting. Don't want that in my food. So even what we see as the beauty in the world, when you dissect it, what is the apparent thing can be a little bit different as well. Of course, it can be beautiful when it's integrated, but when we start to analyze, dissect the world, where is beauty? They say that beauty is skin deep. And if I was sitting here without my skin on, I think that wouldn't be very beautiful, right? It would be a bit of a strange presentation. So beauty is skin deep. Well, it's very true. if the inside, well, people say beauty is on the inside. If well, when we say inside, do we mean our organs on the inside? Is that beautiful? If suddenly there was no skin and just the organs were there, is that where beauty is? So, you know, where is the source of all beauty, of all love, of all compassion? If everything is changing, fleeting, and flowing. And the great ones realize this kind of changing nature. Right? It can be like that. I think it's useful to know these things, because if we get see, change isn't the thing that is difficult for us in our lives. It's the resistance to the change that can be very difficult for us in our life. And everyone's going through difficulties, and it's true. Like everyone's going through things that can be very difficult for others to even understand, and so forth. And so, if we can get to the source of all the difficulties that are arising in us, and we can observe them, we'll start to see, and this is what is taught in the technique of Vipassana, is to analyze what's happening on the body, the sensations that are happening on the body. It's very, very important. See, when an emotion comes up, very strong emotion, we see that it's somewhere on the body. We can analyze it, and then we'll see that it changes. Now, if you do that for 10 hours a day over 10 days, you really do start to see that things are coming through like clouds. They're there for a moment. And if we train ourselves not to react so much to them, then that is one of the most useful things we can do, because then things start to flow a little bit easier. We aren't so resistant to just the pleasurable things. We are able to observe pain, to observe pleasure, and the whole wheel of emotions, of sensations that are coming and arising. I had one experience where, because I'm going so deep and analyzing the body for so long, and because the world is very chaotic, my first few days was just kind of like, wow, I'm really a lot more focused now in the mind. And to have a more focused mind can be kind of a relief sometimes, when things are pulling you here, there, everywhere. I had a really nice experience where it felt like energy of currents going through my body. Amazing, highly recommend it. But then the very next day, this pleasurable sensation went into an unbelievably painful sensation. Where is my pleasurable sensation gone? It's not there anymore, you know? I kind of have this thing where it's like, I would love to feel the ecstatic, spiritual, isn't that spiritual? Ecstatic emotions, ecstatic feelings. Of course, those can be there, but those are also temporary. And so here I am trying to talk to my teacher. I had this amazing experience, but now it's gone. So even these very pleasurable, life-giving energy sensations, you know, those will also be temporary. So you start to learn flowing and going. So I've taken the first step, still a very beginner in these things. I'll leave you with one last story, because I know these two are keen to share some things as well. Another story is of a professor on a ship. Perhaps it's the same ship that we mentioned before. And the professor is pacing around like those engaged heavily in mental activity are. I'm often pacing back and forth in my room. He comes along, he wants to talk to someone, so he finds an old man in the next cabin. And by the way, when it comes to the deeper realizations of seeing, coming and passing and having a balanced mind to that, see, those that are quite successful and quite practiced in their spiritual path or their spiritual tradition, they become less fearful of death. And that's really lovely, you know. To those that do well, you know, there's Theosophists too, or whatever path you're following. If one cultivates and attaches more to the spirit, more than the matter or the material elements of things, to the source of life itself, the fear of death can really, really be reduced down to a pinprick or less. And so imagine that would be a nice thing, on the deathbed. Oh, sensation. You know, it's coming. I'm moving on. It's just like taking off a jacket or something, you know, to some of these people. And there's no fear because there's a promotion. You do well, right? There's no demotion. You dedicate to higher beings, to ascended masters or these other kind of higher beings, then they'll look after you. And there's a promotion. There's more training on the other side. So there's no reason to lament about getting old and dying. It's part of life. There's no reason to lament for those that we love that have become one with the Force. And so this professor comes to this elderly man and says, good sir, have you studied geology? No, what is geology, sir? That's the study of the rocks and the earth. Many people study geology. No, sir, I haven't studied geology. Oh, missed out on the wonders of this great study, this great discipline. I've wasted half your life. It's very sad, old man. I've wasted half my life, he said. Haven't studied geology. The next day he comes in, sir, have you studied meteorology? Study of the wind, the atmosphere, the clouds, I think. No, sir, I haven't studied this. Oh, you've wasted most of your life, I'm sorry. Oh, very sad, very sad. The next day, this old man now comes into the professor's room. Sir, have you studied swimology? Oh, no, sir, I cannot swim. Oh, I'm sorry, sir, our ship is sinking. You've wasted all of your life. So we can study all the things of the world, all our wisdom that we entail. And even swimology, if we study the methods of swimming as just an intellectual exercise, an intellectual masturbation, then that won't ultimately, that's important. It's only part of the field. We must apply it. We must learn to swim. We must learn to step on the path. Okay. All right, I'll probably leave it there. Thank you.
Okay, so we're going to have Ellie now.
We probably don't need to do it talk from there, right? We're running that way.
No, just get ready. Okay, so Ellie is a recent graduate, double major in philosophy and social anthropology. As she said, she's studying clinical hypnotherapy and has a deep interest in harmonizing the different centers within it. And she's been an active student of Virgie as well, as she did a talk earlier in the year. So, Ellie, over to you.
Me. Okay. Mine is more of a short essay / poem. Okay, I'll begin. It's called The Beginnings of a Personal Theosophical Journey Through the Lens of a Young Theosophist. Ever since I can remember, I have always had an intuitive, deep sense within that human beings were no longer existing accordingly to their true innate essence within, a part of us that is necessary and required for the upkeep and maintenance of the earth and the various inhabitants of the earth. I have always been deeply interested in trying to understand why the world was the way it was, why human beings seemingly are the way they are, why our environment is the way that it is. And my deep imagination, coupled with fragments coming over from my previous lives, were deeply saddened and perplexed by what I could see was a degeneration of the only part of us that truly matters, the seat and capacity to grow our soul. A deep part of me was never truly satisfied when I was not engaged in activities and studies that brought me closer to an inner peace and truth. I had an inner knowing that there was a path that I could find in order to find a way out or a way above this perpetual cycle of suffering and ignorance that I personally felt and noticed with heightened awareness that we as a species so often reside in. I felt a deep need to understand myself and others in order to attempt to break out of this great hypnotism that seemed to stem from our cultures, our societies, and learning from other beings that were mostly asleep from our births. In my youth, I found that despite the various occurrences that were happening around me and to me, I was continuously magnetically drawn to sacred writings, esoteric books, and rare occult literature that seemed to almost fall into my hands. And I spent most of my time studying and researching these systems from other beings that had felt and sensed the same things that I had been experiencing. This embedded in me a profound hopefulness that my deepest yearnings were not illusory, but certainly capable of being fulfilled, and were generally only reliant on my own willpower, my own dedication, my sincerity with both myself and others, my ever deepening understanding of myself and others and the world in which we inhabit, learning to work with others, and learning how to connect my inner being to receive higher consciousness that I had had the blessing of experiencing in brief moments of my life. We often talk about birth, death, rebirth, and reincarnation in Theosophy, a topic that has always been of immense interest to me. Most of my understanding and wisdom did not seem to come from this life, but was something that I and many others were seemingly born with. Without going into too much detail, I've been close to death already many times, and these moments were profoundly significant then and further upon deeper analysis. They were significant because in those moments, despite being close to death, something that I was always taught and saw that humans feared the most, I instead felt an overwhelming knowing, a love, a wisdom, and an insight that I had not yet experienced to this degree. I did not feel alone. I felt an incredibly wise, all-loving presence sharing their wisdom with me and making it known that I had in fact chosen this life and my various circumstances, that it was not my time to leave, and that much work is awaiting me, work that deeply satisfies the most real part of me. Stepping into the Wellington branch of the Theosophical Society felt like I was stepping back home. The warmth, the strange familiarity, and the depth that I had found here was like nothing else. And a deep part of me knew that this was only the beginning of a tremendous chapter of my life, a chapter that I had been longing for and preparing for years. I had a strange knowing that despite all of the various work I had done throughout my life, that this is where the real work begins. The work that truly propels one upwards from within. A place where all of my studying of these things could at last contribute to something greater than myself. And to be surrounded by other beings that can also feel and see the same things as I can, filled me with the deepest contentment, hope, and peace. I sincerely want to thank all of you beings sitting here today, as so many of you have already made such a meaningful impact upon me. So many of you have shared your wisdom, your time, your insights, your joy and your laughter, and your light with me. Moments that will stay with me for a lifetime. Since joining the TS, it truly feels as though the inner growth that I have made in the past year is like a quantum leap of stepping up, of aligning myself with what needs to get done and calmly doing it, of feeling empowered and capable to speak when for so much of my life I have felt silenced, for the anxieties and fears to almost instantaneously dissipate whenever I step foot in the door. And this is all stemming from the help of so many of you. The sincerity I receive here, the guidance, and the consistent encouragement towards the deepest and most true parts of myself to grow and expand in ways that I had been praying for years to occur. In other words, you have all been so crucial in helping me formulate myself to becoming the woman I have dreamt of becoming and always longed to be. We can all look up to figures like the mystic and co-founder of the TS, the great Helena Blavatsky, with her relentless seeking of truth, her tireless devotion to sharing the sacred teachings with us and the world in the face of immense scrutiny and the challenges that she was consistently faced with. For she made it known that there are no miracles. There is only understandable phenomena, and who showed that magic is indeed not only real, but a science that can be studied and practiced, and that we are all capable of such. We can look up to the life and actions of the great President, Annie Besant, who dedicated her life to being a profound instrument of removing mass injustices on a local and global scale through her dedications to social activism, and who sacrificed so much of her personal life so that other beings could have the access and means of national education in India, thus allowing millions of lives to be touched by the freedom that can come with practical knowledge and wisdom long after her physical body has left. And we can look up to the masters who endlessly provide us with profound insights, wisdom, the energy and vitality to do, to love, the experiencing of higher states of consciousness, and who created and allow us to share in this organization founded on universal togetherness, the studying of religion, philosophy, and science, the ever building of our latent powers within, the heart that is always seeking the truth, and the body that will stand up and always strive to put right the injustices wherever we identify them. For these great figures, and even the masters, were all once people just like us. And they are always calling us to align our consciousness with them, to not utter nor think badly of others, no matter how much we may think and believe they have wronged us, but to apply forgiveness and unconditional understanding to others and all life that exists on this planet. To dedicate our lives to the sharing of truth and wisdom in whatever manner our specific, unique energy provides. To make ourselves a channel of light, of love, and of justice in a world that so desperately needs our help. For each being sitting in this room or listening in tonight, can each bring something unique, something profound and beautiful forth into this world. And we must work together, for that is the very reason we are all here together in the first place. Thank you.
Does anyone want any comment or thoughts on Ellie, what she said?
Any thoughts or comments on what Ellie has said? Anyone that wanted to share?
I just want to say thanks to all of you, to all the live members. You're right, we've got to do it together, and we're carrying on the work that all of our fellow generation members before us and after us will continue. So yeah,
thank you. And same right back as well. Like it's so wonderful and as Ali said, and certainly it's true that we benefit greatly from the wisdom. For example, you share, Simon, and from having the comrades around as well. And certainly it's a joy for us too.
Hello. Very
Hello.
nice.
You go.
Very nice presentation. Simple and inspiring. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.